Alright, so in the last video, we basically talked about FL Studio and how, there are already some sounds built in. For example, we have these drums. If you go to the kicks folder, you got all these kicks here. And then alternatively, we also have more folders like the drums mode audio. Again, we have more kicks to pick from. Although, not all of the sounds in FL Studio are amazing. And there are obviously a lot more folders over here that you can kind of like navigate through. And then we also have instruments, which are different than drums because these are all essentially going to be saved as WAV files. So they're one individual file. If I go ahead and import that and put that in here, this is what the file itself looks like. And this is the actual waveform. And you can even see right here, it's called kick.wave because if you were to open up the file on your computer, it is just a WAV file, a very short WAV file. Now, alternatively, we also have VSTs, which are kind of built-in instruments. VSTs can also be like effects and stuff, but for instrument plugins, these are a bunch of different types that we have to pick from. Some of them are drums. For example, the bass drum here. These are also going to be drums. However, we also have some that are instruments, like, for example, Citrus that we had already looked at, where we have a whole bunch of presets that we can pick from. And, we have different types of sounds going on. Like, we have brass, which is like a horn sound, like a saxophone or maybe a tuba. We also have, a guitar sound. We also have an organ sound. These are more like EDM type of bass sounds. And you can go through any one of these and, find something that you like. Alternatively, we can go here back to add and we can go to harmless, which is another type of VST. Same general idea. We have a bunch of presets. So if you right click and, you can see that there are a whole bunch more presets where really all you need to do is kind of, pick something and listen to it and hear if it's, the sound that you're looking for. And then you can even click left and right and that'll cycle through all of the different presets. So you don't have to keep on clicking on this window and then, go from additive whirly and then right click, go to basic organ. Instead, you can just go left and then go right and it'll go to the next one on the list until eventually it'll cycle through all of these. So again, you have all kinds of sounds that you can pick from. There are even more plugins that you can look at if you go to more plugins here. And then if you click on manage plugins, and then I'm going to scroll down, it kind of has a list of every single plugin that you have installed in your computer. For example, we looked at harmless, but we also have harm more, and we can go ahead and left click on this, and I'm going to click on this favorite button right here. Then when I click on add, you can see that Harmore appears right here. So I can left click on that. And then you'll see that this is, another VST, again, with a whole bunch more presets. I can right click. And then again, you have all these different instruments and sounds that you can pick from. These are a bunch of different pianos. So it all really depends on what kind of sound you're looking for. However, if you don't really like the sounds that are built into FL Studio, you can also go on the internet and find sounds that are not part of FL Studio. So for example, if I don't like the drum sounds I have right here, I can go online, I can even Google, drum kits, and you'll probably find a whole bunch of different types of drum kits. Some of them you have to pay for, some of them are free. Just because it's free does not mean it's not good, and just because you pay for it does not mean that it is good. But here, as you can see, we have a subreddit called Drum Kits, and if you, sort by top, and then change that to top of all time, we have a whole bunch of different drum kits that people have uploaded, and all you need to do is left click on it, and then click on, the link here, download it. Some of them might be really old, so like this one, obviously, it's not there anymore. You really just need to go online and keep looking around for different things. For example, this one, Ultimate Artist Drum Kit, MediaFire, and then all you need to do is download, and wait for it to download. You'll want to unzip it after it's been downloaded if it's already a zip file. Now, what I've already done is download that file along with a couple others, and all of these are drum kits. So don't confuse drum kits with something that is a plugin like Citrus or Harmore, because this has like a whole bunch of sounds already built into it. You have all these knobs that allow you to customize the sound. These are literally just a whole bunch of WAV files. If you actually go in, you can look at the properties. It's nothing more than a WAV file that somebody recorded. So if I left click, I can hear it. And that's all it is. So let me go back here, and I'm just going to go ahead and right click, and I'm going to copy all of these files. And then I'm going to go to my PC. I'm going to go to local disk. I'm going to go to program files, and depending on whether you installed in the 86 or here, you might want to double check, but you're looking for a folder called image line. So if you don't see it in your program files, go to program files 86 and then look, maybe you'll see the image line folder in here. So here I'm going to program files, image line, then I'm going to go to FL Studio 20. I'm going to go to data. I'm going to go into patches, then we'll go to packs, and then here you can see this is where my drums folder was. I'm going to go ahead and right click and paste all of these, and it'll take a little while, so I'll fast forward while I'm copying and pasting. Alright, now that I have that all done, you can see I have all these folders in here, and I'm going to go ahead and close this out. And now let me go ahead and restart FL Studio. And now that I have restarted FL Studio, you can see I have these extra folders in here. So if I want to left click here, you can see we have all these folders and I have a whole bunch more kicks and claps and everything I want to pick from. So I would do the exact same thing if I wanted to kick. I would left click, drag, and then drop it in here. I would go down here to my snares, find a snare I like, drag it over here. Again, I'm going to put the snare here and here, bring the tempo down to about 90. And it's really a trial and error type of thing where you want to listen and try to find whatever kick it is that you like or whatever sounds good to you. But if you look around online, you'll definitely find, some drums out there that are really good quality. You'll also find a lot of really bad quality ones. So it's really kind of a matter of going out there and digging and trying to find something that sounds really good to you. And that's about all there is, as far as importing all these different sounds and kicks and drums and all that. However, you may also want more instrument plugins to pick from. Harmless and Harmor and Citrus, they're all great, but then there are also a whole bunch more that a lot of people might argue are better. So one thing you can do is you can go to kvraudio.com, and then here we're going to go to products, and they have a whole data bank of all these different VSTs, and really they have every kind. As I've said before, a VST is not necessarily an instrument. It can also be an effect like an EQ or a compressor, but I can actually narrow my search down. I can get rid of effects and host, and I can only have instruments, and I can say I only want to look at the free ones. You can also go here to sort the results and find the most popular ones. And KVR Audio is such a big website that I think, when you look at the most popular ones, often these are going to be a lot of the better quality VSTs that you can find. So you can go through any of these and download them. For example, I'm going to download Synth 1. I just need to go down here, click on downloads. I'm using Windows, so I'll download. This is in Japanese. I'll just translate here. I'm going to click here where it says download. And I will click right here, 32, 64-bit. And then I will show in folder. I'm going to right click, extract here, and then I have a Synth 1 folder. Now every single VST is going to be different. They're all created by different companies, so you might need to look at, the instructions. Here it says I need to carry out the initialization tool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go here, I'm going to go to my PC, go to local disk. I should be able to go to one of my VST folders, so I'll go to program files 86. I'll go down to where it says VST plugins. I'm going to go to this folder, rebuilding. I'm just going to go ahead and copy the whole Synth 1 folder. So copy. As you can see, this is all the stuff that's inside of it. I will go to VST plugins, right click, and then paste. I need to have permission, continue. Then I'm going to click on Synth 1. And then here it says init settings. I'm going to go ahead and double click on that. Click on yes. Okay. Now hopefully, when I start up FL Studio again, I'm going to go ahead and close it out. Start it up one more time. I'm going to go to add more plugins, manage plugins. All I did was click on find more plugins, and it might take a little while just to go ahead and go through everything and scan. It will basically go through your entire computer and scan for different plugin files, and you can really kind of install in one of a number of folders. For example, I could have gone to program files, common files, and then VST3, and this would have been just as valid. You can see that it's gone through and basically it's found all the plugins that I have on my computer. These are the newer ones. I'm going to go ahead and left click here, Synth VSTI, and I'm going to click on favorite. And I'm going to close this out. Now when I click on add, you can see that I have Synth 1 VSTI right here. And now I can go ahead and play it. And just like Harmor and Citrus, it has a whole bunch of presets built in. So if I left click here where it says brass string, I have all of these built-in sounds that I can pick from. For example, if I want to pick this guitar here, Now for the record, this particular VST is pretty small because my screen resolution is pretty small. And because, all the VSTs are done by different developers, some will have support for resizing, others will not. So if you go into the settings, you can go here and you can make sure that this is unchecked where it says DPI aware when bridged, and then you can reload. But if it still does not fix, you can also try scale editor dimensions, but clearly this is not going to work. So I'm just going to unclick that. And what I'm going to do instead as a different fix is I'm going to close this out. I'm going to right click and then go to display settings. Then I can change my resolution 2048 by 1152. Keep changes. Now I'm going to start up FL Studio one more time. Add VSTI. And you can see that it's a lot bigger now, and I can actually look at all these knobs and adjust them a little bit more. That being said, there are definitely plugins out there. They're all made by different people, so some of them support being able to resize. Some of them do not. So you kind of just have to, try it out and make sure that you have the right resolution and everything going on. And that's about it. If you want to add in a new drum sound, you could just go to your program files and then go to image line and then go to FL Studio, go to data, go to patches, and then packs. Copy and paste any drums that you want to add in. You'll find them here in the sidebar whenever you open up packs. And you can always go through and, find, kicks and hats and claps, different sounds that you like. If you want to add in a new instrument that you found online, you can go to kvraudio.com. You can look at all these products. They also have some that are for sale, for example, paid. If we sort by the most popular, you can see that here we have all the more popular VSTs, including Reaper and FL Studio. Contact is really good for more realistic instruments. Massive is really good. They do have realistic instruments, but they also have a good selection of EDM type sounds. Silent is really good. Reactor, FM8. I really like one that's called Serum that I don't see right here at the top. Here it is right here. I also like one called Nexus, which I'll look at in the next video. But there are all kinds of different, plugins. They have good ones that are for free, and then they have good ones that you have to pay for. So definitely go out there. They have forums for KVR Audio, so you can talk to other people and get their opinions on what VST is the best. You can probably Google it, look up YouTube videos. I'm sure there are plenty of people with opinions on them. My main goal for this tutorial was to teach you how to install things. So if you have any type of VST, I'm going to go back to another free one and I'm going to click search. I'm going to come down here and install Tyrell, which is another synth. I'm going to download just to show you, how to do the process one more time. This one was actually kind of hidden. I had to Control F and then find download. So we're going to click on this link here and that'll take me right here where I can download for Windows. Once you have it downloaded, you'll want to right click and then extract to here. So you have a folder, right? This is the Tyrell folder, right click. I'm going to go ahead and copy that. And if I go inside, you can see what's in it. This one actually has an installer, which, some of them do, and that makes it a lot easier. All you need to do is left click, and then you can install it the same way that you do with any other program. I accept. Next. Here it will ask you to pick your directory. So if you go to browse, we go to my PC, we can go to local disk. And again, there are a lot of different directories that you could be using. For example, you could go to program files and then you can go down to VST where it says VST plugins right here. Or you can go to local disk and then you can go to common files and then we're going to go to VST. I'm just going to use the VST3 folder. I'm going to click OK. They also want me to select for my 64-bit, so I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to go ahead and copy and paste that. Copy. Then I can click on Next, Install, wait for it to install, finish. And if I go to local disk, program files, common files, VST3, you can see that I have the Tyrell.dll file in here. So that means it was successfully installed in this folder. So now I can just go to FL Studio. If I go to Add More Plugins, I can go to Manage Plugins. Now you want to make sure that whatever folder you installed the VST in, you have it here in the plugin search path. So if I go to My PC, then I go to Local Disk, Program Files, Common Files, then go down to VST3, click OK, and now you can see that that has been added into this list. And it does look like they already have it here, but you might need to do this directly. So when you click on Find More Plugins, it'll go through and it'll search all of these folders for the plugins. And you can see here that it's going through and now that it's all done going through and looking through all of these folders, if you go down here, you should be able to find, we have Tyrell N6. So if I go ahead and click on Favorite, I can close this out, go to Add, and then hopefully I'll be able to see it right here under Synth, Tyrell N6. And just like the other ones, if I right click here, you'll see that there's a whole bunch of presets that are already built into it. For example, if I go here to the Whirly EP, or I can pick a different one, Dyson. So that is essentially how you install new VSTs. Pretty much all of them kind of work in this general fashion where you'll have a DLL file, you'll want to download it into one of these folders, whether that be, in the program files and in your common files, VST3. No matter what folder you download it in, the important part is that when you go to add and go to more plugins, go to manage plugins, the main thing is that you want to make sure that you have that folder in here under plugin search path. Theoretically, if you wanted to, you could just download everything onto your desktop as long as you have, the desktop set as one of these folders. So the actual folder that you install everything in isn't super important. What is important is that that folder is in this search path. And then when you click on Find More Plugins, it'll go through and it'll look for new plugins that you've installed recently. You can also remove any of these folders by clicking on that button. That's about all you really need to know to install plugins. Some of them, all you really have to do is click on install over and over again. All of them are going to be a little bit different, so you might want to look at the documentation when you go to one of these websites. They'll normally have, steps that you need to follow in order to install them. But that's about it for this tutorial. I just wanted to make sure you knew how to, add in different sounds like drum sounds and drum kits and add them into your packs folder. I also wanted to make sure that you knew how to install basic VST plugins for FL Studio. And that's about all I have for this tutorial. Thank you for tuning in. Hopefully you learned something new, and I'll see you next time.